I always believed a mother's love could survive anything. Anything. Even when your child disappoints you. Even when they make choices you don't agree with. Even when they hurt you accidentally or intentionally. But what happened that night? No mother should ever have to say these words out loud. My daughter dragged me across the floor by my hair. And no grandmother should ever have to admit the rest. Her husband punched me. All because of $3 million. Money I didn't even want at first. Money that was supposed to protect the family, not destroy it. But before I tell you how 911 got involved, before the sirens, the blood, the neighbors running out, before I fell on the cold concrete and the world turned dark, let me tell you how it all started. Because the truth is, no one believes an old woman when she says she was attacked. Not a judge. Not the police. Not even other family members. But I'll never forget the way my daughter screamed that night. Get out of my house. You don't deserve anything. Her voice still echoes in my ears. And the reason? A secret I kept for 26 years. A secret they discovered only recently. A secret tied to every dollar of that $3 million. My name is Margaret. I'm 72 years old. I move slowly now. My hands shake. My knees ache when I stand. But my mind remembers everything. Especially pain. And especially betrayal. My daughter Emily wasn't always like this. When she was little, she used to braid flowers into my hair. She would fall asleep on my lap during thunderstorms. She used to tell me, "Mom, when I grow up, you'll live with me forever." But people change. Life hardens some hearts. Money poisons others. And when greed enters a home, love becomes disposable. The night it happened, I wasn't there to fight. I wasn't even there to argue. I had only come to drop off some papers, legal documents about the money, about the inheritance I received unexpectedly. $3 million from a relative I barely knew. I tried to give it away. I really did. But fate, it seems, had other plans. Emily had demanded I put her name on the inheritance immediately. She said, "Mom, you don't need that much. You're old. Let me and John handle it." But the more she demanded, the more uneasy I felt. Something was off. Her husband, John, became too interested. He always hovered near me when money came up. Always glaring. Always waiting. And then I found out the truth. The truth that made them snap that night. I learned something that terrified me. They had already made plans for me. Not plans to help me. Not plans to take care of me. But plans to get rid of me. And the day I confronted my daughter about it was the day everything went violently, horribly wrong. I stepped into their house that night, holding the documents in my hand. I thought it would be a calm conversation, a chance to explain myself. I didn't know their tempers had already exploded behind closed doors. As soon as I entered, the house was silent, dark, tense. Emily was standing in the kitchen, shaking. John was leaning against the counter with a beer in his hand, staring at me like I was a thief. "Mom," Emily said, her voice cracking. "Why did you do that?" "Do what?" I asked. "The bank called us," John snapped. "We know you moved all the money into a trust." I swallowed hard. I didn't expect them to find out so soon. "I did it to protect myself," I whispered. "To protect yourself?" Emily laughed. A cold, empty sound. "From who?" "From US." My heart dropped. I stepped back toward the door. John slammed it shut with his hand. "You're not going anywhere," he growled. Then he grabbed my arm so hard I cried out. Emily shouted, John, stop. But her voice wasn't concern. It was anger that he acted before she did. I felt my feet slide across the floor as he pushed me. My back hit the wall. My vision blurred. And then, the first blow landed. His fist connected with my cheek. I heard a crack. Maybe bone. Maybe tooth. Maybe just my dignity. I remember thinking, is this really happening? Is this really my family? Emily ran toward me, but not to help. She grabbed my hair, fist tight, and dragged me across the living room carpet. I screamed. I begged. I cried. But she kept pulling, yanking, dragging. And as she did, she said the words I will never forget. If you won't give us the money, you don't deserve to live here. I clawed at the floor. I reached for anything. A chair leg, a corner of the rug. But she kept dragging me closer to the door. Closer and closer. Until the front door opened. Cold air hit my face. The world spun. And then, I was thrown outside. As the door slammed behind me, I heard John say, "Call 911. Tell them she attacked us first." And Emily whispered, "Don't worry. No one believes old women anyway." But they were wrong. Dead wrong. As what happened next, what the neighbors saw, what the police discovered, would change everything. I lay on the cold concrete, my cheek throbbing, the taste of blood pooling in my mouth. Every breath burned like fire in my ribs. My hair was tangled, my clothes torn, and the night breeze chilled my bones. But worse than the physical pain was the crushing weight in my chest. My daughter, my own daughter, had dragged me outside like garbage. I tried to push myself up, but my arms shook violently. I wasn't sure if it was fear or heartbreak. Then the door slammed open again. I flinched, expecting another blow, expecting more screaming. But instead I heard hurried footsteps. From behind me, a neighbor's voice. Soft, terrified. "Mrs. Thompson? Are you okay?" It was Clara, the young woman from across the street. She knelt beside me, her hands hovering, afraid to touch me but too worried to walk away. "Oh my God, who did this to you?" I couldn't speak yet. My jaw felt stiff, my tongue heavy. All I could do was look at her. And in that moment, tears finally spilled from my eyes. She gasped, "Stay here, I'm calling the police." I panicked instantly. "No," I croaked, barely audible. Because inside the house, I heard Emily and John whispering to each other. Loud whispers. Urgent. Panic-filled. The kind of whispers people make when they're trying to hide something. Trying to hide guilt. Just before the door shut again, I heard it. A single sentence. Spoken by my daughter. A sentence that hit me harder than John's fist. She wasn't supposed to find out about the nursing home yet. My blood ran cold. Nursing home? Yet? What did they mean yet? What else had they planned? What were they going to do? I didn't understand everything then, but I understood enough. They had been planning to get rid of me. The money wasn't the only reason. There was something deeper, something darker. Clara helped me sit up, wrapping her cardigan around my shoulders. Behind her, more neighbors stepped outside. Lights flicked on. Voices whispered in the dark. What happened? Is she hurt? Did they do this to her? John suddenly rushed outside, slamming the screen door so hard it rattled. He plastered on a fake sympathetic expression. "Oh my gosh, Margaret fell!" he shouted loudly, making sure everyone could hear. Clara shot up, furious. She didn't fall. She was thrown out. John cursed under his breath. Then, like a rehearsed performance, he yelled, "She attacked Emily. I just tried to protect my wife." Everyone froze, even the wind, because they all knew that was a lie. Emily stepped out too, rubbing her arm dramatically, pretending to be in pain. "She went crazy," she cried, fake tears rolling down her cheeks. "She said horrible things. She grabbed me. My stomach turned. My daughter was lying. Without hesitation. Without guilt. Without shame." Clara pointed at me. "She's bleeding. Look at her face." John quickly responded. "She fell on the driveway." Someone else shouted, "Then why is her hair ripped out?" Another neighbor added, "And why did we hear yelling inside the house minutes before she fell?" John's jaw tightened. People weren't buying it. Good. But suddenly, the distant wail of sirens broke the tension. Closer. Closer. Louder. The flashing red and blue lights reflected on the windows. I should have felt relieved. The police were coming. Help was coming. But instead, I felt terrified, because I knew something no one else did. Emily and John were prepared. They had rehearsed lies. They had rehearsed their version. They had rehearsed their tears. They were ready for this moment. But I wasn't. I was shaking, weak, in pain, barely able to speak. They saw this as an opportunity, a perfect chance to twist everything. And I was just an old woman bleeding in the dark. The police car stopped, lights spinning. 2 officers stepped out. One approached John first. Of course, abusers always try to talk first. Control the story. Control the narrative. "Officer, thank God you came," John said, voice full of fake concern. "She attacked us. We had to restrain her." Emily nodded quickly, still fake crying. "She's unstable. She needs help." The police officer looked at me, then at the ripped hair, the bruised face, the torn clothes. His expression changed. He walked to me slowly, gently. "Ma'am, can you tell me what happened?" I opened my mouth, but the pain shot through my jaw. Words tangled. My voice cracked. John smirked. "She can't even talk properly. She's confused." The police officer turned to him sharply. "Sir, step back and let her speak." That wiped the smile off his face. Good. Clara held my hand and whispered, "Tell the truth. Don't be afraid." I tried again. My lips trembled. My body shook uncontrollably. But I said it. "She hit me." Everyone around fell silent. "I didn't fall," I whispered. He punched me and she dragged me." Emily exploded instantly. "That is a lie." John grabbed her hand, trying to silence her, but she was already spiraling. The officer asked calmly, "Ma'am, did you put your hands on your mother tonight?" Emily shook her head violently. "No. Essie attacked us. She tried to scratch me, but her voice was too shrill, too nervous, too desperate." One officer noticed something, a small bruise forming on Emily's wrist. He asked, "How did you get that mark?" Emily froze. Her eyes darted to John. She wasn't ready for that question. John quickly answered for her. "She got it when she was trying to help her mother off the ground." The officer raised an eyebrow. "You said she attacked you inside the house. Now you're saying she was already outside." The story was falling apart. Piece by piece. John's jaw clenched. Emily started shaking. Good. Let them feel fear for once. Then something unexpected happened. Another officer walked to the door and knocked. "Anyone else in the house?" No answer. He stepped inside. And 1 minute later, he returned with something in his hand, something that changed everything. A small black square object. My heart stopped. It was a baby monitor camera. My granddaughter's old room camera. Emily had forgotten to unplug it. The officer held it up. This was recording. All of it. Emily gasped. John's face drained of color. The entire neighborhood went silent. And me? For the first time that night, I breathed. I woke up on the cold floor of my own living room. My cheek was swollen. My jaw throbbed. A metallic taste filled my mouth blood. For a moment, I didn't even remember where I was. Then everything came rushing back. My son-in-law's fist. My daughter's hands in my hair. The screaming. The betrayal. The money. $3 million. The number kept echoing in my head like a curse. I wasn't supposed to know about it. I wasn't supposed to question them. I was just supposed to sign quietly and disappear. But when I refused, when I asked one simple question, "Why are you taking my money?" everything exploded. I blinked through the dizziness and tried to sit up. My ribs stabbed with pain. I couldn't tell if they were bruised or broken. "Mom!" a voice whispered. For a second I froze. Fear shot through me like electricity. But it wasn't my daughter. It wasn't her husband. It was my granddaughter, little Lily, standing at the edge of the hallway with tears streaming down her face. "Nana, are you alive?" she whispered. My heart cracked in two. I forced a smile. "Of course, sweet girl. I'm okay." But I wasn't. I was far from okay. She tiptoed closer, shaking, holding something behind her back. "Mom said." "I didn't see anything," she murmured. "But I did. I saw everything." My chest tightened. "And Nana, I didn't tell anyone." She slowly pulled her hand forward. It was a phone. Her phone. Unlocked. A video open. A video of the entire attack. My breath caught in my throat. She whispered, "I recorded everything. I was scared, but I didn't want them to hurt you." Tears blurred my vision. This little girl, this innocent child, had done what grown adults wouldn't. She took my hand gently. "I think you should call someone." My hands trembled. "Lily, honey, who?" She swallowed, voice barely a breath. 911. The number I had been too afraid to dial. The number that would change everything. The number that would finally expose the truth. I stared at the phone, at the video of myself being beaten in my own home by my own family, and I felt something rising inside me. Not fear. Not sadness. Not confusion. Strength. For the first time in a long time, I felt strong. "I think you're right, sweetheart," I whispered. My finger hovered over the screen, over those 3 numbers, and then I pressed them. 911. The phone began to ring, and my nightmare was about to become everyone's truth. The phone barely rang once before the operator answered. 911. "What is your emergency?" For a moment I couldn't speak. My throat tightened, my breath trembled, and Lily squeezed my hand as if giving me the courage I had forgotten I still had. Hello. "I've been assaulted," I whispered. The operator's voice softened immediately. "Ma'am, are you safe right now?" Safe. What a strange word. I looked around my wrecked living room. Broken lamp, chair knocked over, blood smeared on the tile. And I looked at Lily, still holding my hand. "Yes," I finally said. "I'm with my granddaughter." "Is the person who assaulted you still there?" My heart pounded. I had no idea where my daughter or her husband had gone. They had stormed out after dragging me across the floor, shouting something about finishing paperwork later. I don't know, I admitted. All right, ma'am. Stay on the line. Officers are already on their way. Already on their way. Those words felt like light after months of darkness. But the peace lasted only seconds, because suddenly Lily's eyes widened. Nana, they're back, she whispered. My blood ran cold. The front door creaked open. Heavy footsteps. Voices. My daughter. My son-in-law. Laughing. As if nothing had happened. I quickly pressed the phone to my chest to muffle the operator's voice. My daughter walked in with grocery bags humming, while her husband tossed his keys on the counter. Then they saw me. On the floor. Awake. Holding a phone. Their faces changed instantly. My son-in-law's eyes narrowed. My daughter's smile dropped. You're awake, she said sharply. I didn't answer. My son-in-law took one step toward me. What are you doing with that phone? Lily stepped in front of me, tiny but brave. Leave Nana alone. He froze for a moment, surprised by her courage. That hesitation was everything. Because right then, knock, knock, knock. Police. A loud commanding knock. Police department. Open the door. My daughter's face drained of color. My son-in-law's jaw tightened. What did you do? My daughter hissed. I slowly stood, lifting the phone. I told the truth, I said. For the first time in years. I sounded like myself. Another pounding knock. Police. Open the door now. My daughter rushed to the door, pretending to be confused and innocent. Officers. What's going on? But when they looked past her and saw me bruised, shaking with a swollen face, everything changed. Ma'am, one officer said, stepping inside. We need to speak with you immediately. My son-in-law raised his hands, stammering. This is a misunderstanding. But then Lily stepped forward, holding her phone. Officer. I recorded the whole thing. Silence. The kind of silence that decides the rest of someone's life. The officer gently took the phone, watched 5 seconds of the video, and his entire expression hardened. He nodded to his partner. Put him in cuffs. My son-in-law's face twisted. What? You can't arrest me. But it was too late. The officer grabbed him, turned him around, and snapped handcuffs around his wrists. My daughter screamed, Stop! He didn't do anything. The officer turned calmly. Ma'am, we saw the video. And you will be coming with us as well. She froze, speechless. And for the first time in a very long time, I didn't feel afraid. I felt free. The room fell into chaos. My daughter stood frozen as the officers approached her. Her eyes darted between me, Lily, and her husband already in cuffs. This isn't real, she muttered. Mom, tell them. Tell them you slipped. Tell them it was an accident. Her voice cracked, not with guilt but fear. Fear of consequences. Fear of losing the lifestyle she valued more than me. I looked at her, really looked at her. And for the first time in years I saw what I had refused to accept. She wasn't the little girl I raised. She was someone who had learned to use people, even her own mother. I straightened my back, ignoring the pain stabbing through my ribs. No, I said softly but clearly. I won't lie for you anymore. Her face contorted into something ugly. Anger mixed with shock. Mom! After everything we've done for you. I almost laughed. Everything they'd done for me? Abandonment. Insults. Disrespect. Violence. One officer stepped forward. Ma'am, please turn around. "No," she shrieked. "You don't understand." But the officers were done listening. Her hands were pulled behind her back. The cuffs snapped, and her screams echoed through the house as if the walls themselves were tired of her behavior. "Nana," Lily whispered, leaning into me. I wrapped my arm around her. "It's over, sweetheart. You're safe now." My daughter glared at me over her shoulder as the officers led her toward the door. "You ruined my life," she screamed. I felt a tear slip down my cheek, not from her words, but from the realization that she truly believed that. The officer paused at the door and turned to me. "Ma'am, we're calling an ambulance to check your injuries. You're clearly hurt." I nodded gratefully. My son-in-law snarled as he was dragged out next. "This isn't over, old woman." The officer tightened his grip. "That's enough." The door slammed behind them. Silence filled the house. A strange, heavy silence. Then Lily hugged me so tightly it hurt, but in the best possible way. "Nana." I was so scared. I stroked her hair. Her bravery was the only reason I was still standing. "Thank you, Lily. You saved me." She shook her head. "You saved yourself, too." Her words hit me hard. For years I had allowed myself to shrink, to be silent, to tolerate cruelty because I wanted to keep my family together. But sometimes the most painful truth is this: not everyone who shares your blood deserves a place in your life. The ambulance arrived minutes later. Paramedics stepped in with gentle voices and careful hands. They helped me onto a stretcher, and Lily climbed in beside me, refusing to let go of my hand. As we drove away, I stared at the house, the place where I had cooked meals, rocked babies to sleep, dried tears, the place I had once called home. Now it looked cold, empty, a shell of what it used to be. But instead of breaking my heart, a strange sense of peace washed over me. Maybe this was the beginning of something new. I wasn't sure what tomorrow would look like, but for the first time in a long time, I believed tomorrow might actually be better. The hospital lights were too bright, but somehow comforting. They felt cleaner, safer. Nothing like the tension-filled house I had just left. A nurse gently pressed a blanket around my shoulders. "You're safe here," she said softly. Safe. Such a simple word. Yet something I hadn't felt in years. Lily sat on a chair beside my bed, swinging her feet nervously. She looked small but stronger than anyone else in our family. When the doctor walked in with my X-ray results, I already knew they wouldn't be good. He cleared his throat. "You have 2 fractured ribs, severe bruising along your back, and signs of older injuries that were never treated." Older injuries. I swallowed hard, because those were from the times I stayed silent. Every bruise I hid, every accidental shove, every insult I pretended didn't sting. The doctor looked at Lily. "Sweetheart, you did the right thing calling for help." Her eyes dropped to the floor. I wish I had done it sooner. I took her hand. "No. You saved me exactly when I needed you." Then the social worker entered, a calm woman with kind eyes. "Mrs. Hale," she said, sitting beside my bed, "we've spoken to the police. Your daughter and son-in-law are being held without bail until the investigation is complete." I exhaled, feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Relief. But then she continued. "We also need to talk about your living situation. It's clear you can't return to that home." A sting hit my chest, a mix of grief and acceptance. I nodded slowly. "I know." She smiled gently. "You don't have to worry. We'll make arrangements. But there's someone here who wants to speak with you first." Before I could ask who, the curtain slid open, and in walked my oldest grandson, Adam. The moment he saw me, his face crumpled. "Nana! Oh my God!" He rushed to my bedside and carefully hugged me, resting his forehead against mine. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "I had no idea it was this bad." My voice trembled. "It wasn't your fault. I should have visited more. I should have checked in." "No," I said firmly. "The blame is not yours." He sat beside Lily, holding her shoulder protectively. "When I heard what happened, I left work immediately. I'm not letting you spend another night alone." His certainty warmed something inside me that had long been frozen. The social worker smiled. "Actually, Adam came with a solution." He turned to me, eyes shining with determination. "Nana, I want you to come live with me." My mouth fell open. "Oh, sweetheart, I don't want to be a burden." "You won't be. I bought my house for a reason, so family would always have a place. And that includes you." Tears gathered in my eyes. All this time, one daughter tried to throw me away, but another grandchild wanted to bring me home. "I don't know what to say," I whispered. "Say yes," Lily giggled. I laughed softly, even though it hurt my ribs. "Yes," I breathed. "I'd love to." Adam's face lit up like he had been waiting to hear that his whole life. For the first time in years, the future didn't feel terrifying. Felt hopeful. But deep inside, I knew something. This wasn't the end of the story. Because people like my daughter and her husband didn't just disappear quietly. And when money, millions, was involved, trouble always found a way back. But this time, I would be ready. The next morning, Adam returned to the hospital with a small suitcase. "Nana, I brought you some clothes. We'll get you discharged today." Lily clapped her hands excitedly. "I made room in the car for your stuff." Their sweetness warmed my bruised ribs more than any medication. But just as I began to smile, a police officer stepped into the room. My heartbeat stuttered. "Mrs. Hale," he said softly, "we need to update you on the situation involving your daughter and son-in-law." Lily leaned closer to Adam, nervous. The officer continued, flipping open his notebook. "They are claiming you attacked them." My stomach dropped. Of course they would twist everything. I had lived under their roof long enough to know how they worked. They hit first, then cried louder. And somehow everyone believed them. Adam stood quickly. "That's ridiculous. She's the victim here." The officer nodded. "We don't believe their story. But they've hired a lawyer." I closed my eyes slowly. This wasn't over. Not even close. The officer hesitated before speaking again. "And there's something else. They told us you stole money. A large amount." My eyes snapped open. "Money? What money?" "They claim you took $3 million that belonged to the family." Adam laughed out loud. $3 million? My Nana doesn't even carry more than $20 in her purse. The officer sighed. "We know the accusation is false, but they're using it to complicate the case, trying to paint you as unstable." It felt like someone punched the breath out of me again. Unstable. That was my daughter's favorite word whenever she wanted to shut me up. But hearing it from police lips. "It's okay, Nana," Adam said gently. "They're desperate. And desperate people lie." The officer nodded. "We're on your side. But be prepared. Their lawyer is very aggressive. He'll try to get them released." My heart thudded painfully. Released? Back out? Back to do what? Finish what they started? What if they come after me again? I whispered. Adam placed his hand over mine. They won't. Not while I'm here. But even with his reassuring smile, fear curled inside my chest like dark smoke. After the officer left, Adam helped me stand. Ready to go home? He asked with a soft smile. Home, I repeated, savoring the word. But as we walked toward the exit, something happened that made my skin crawl. A woman wearing sunglasses and a trench coat stood near the entrance, staring at me. Not blinking, not moving, just watching. Something about her felt wrong. A chill swept down my spine. Adam noticed too. Can I help you? He asked. The woman turned away immediately and hurried out of the hospital. My breath caught. Nana, Adam said gently. Do you know her? No, I whispered. But she knew me. He frowned. I'll get the car. Stay with Lily. As he left, Lily tugged on my sleeve. Nana, do you think she was with them? I knelt slowly and cupped her cheek. I don't know, sweetheart, but something tells me this is bigger than we thought. Bigger, darker, more dangerous. And I wasn't sure any of us were ready for what was coming next. By the time we reached Adam's house, the sun was dipping low, casting long shadows over the driveway. The quiet suburban street seemed peaceful, but I knew better. Peace was only a mask for the chaos that still followed me. Lily ran ahead, giggling as she pointed out the garden. This is your room, Nana. I cleaned it and everything. I smiled weakly, but the bruises on my body and the ache in my chest reminded me. Home wasn't safety yet. Home was temporary sanctuary. Adam carried my bag inside and I sank into the couch. The cushions felt soft against my bruised back, and I allowed myself a small sigh. I was safe for now, at least physically. But my mind raced with questions. Would they try to manipulate the police? Would the lawyer find a loophole to get my daughter and her husband released? And who was the woman at the hospital? The air in the house was quiet, almost too quiet. I could feel the weight of history pressing on me. The years of small betrayals, the times I had stayed silent, the times I had endured insults, and now the violence. Lily sat on the floor beside me, pulling my hand into her lap. I don't like them, Nana, she whispered. I don't want them back here. Her words were simple, but filled with honesty. They hit me harder than John's punch ever could. She understood. She knew instinctively what I had taken years to realize. Some people, even family, are toxic. That night I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house made my heart pound. Every shadow looked like a figure waiting to attack. I kept imagining my daughter and her husband sneaking in to reclaim what they thought was theirs. The $3 million and control over me. I tried to calm myself with logic. The police were involved. The video existed. The lawyers would handle them. I was safe. But deep down, fear gnawed at me. Then at exactly 2:13 a.m., a faint knock echoed at the door. Soft, tentative, but deliberate. My pulse spiked. I whispered to Lily, "Stay here." Slowly, I tiptoed to the door and peeked through the peephole. Nothing. Empty driveway. No one. I exhaled shakily. Just a nightmare, probably. But then I noticed something on the porch. A small envelope. Plain brown. No markings. Picked it up. My hand shook. Inside was a note, scrawled in Emily's handwriting. We're not done. You'll regret this, Nana. Watch your back. My stomach twisted. The words were cold. Calculated. A threat disguised as handwriting. Lily climbed behind me and peeked over my shoulder. They're coming for us? She whispered. I swallowed hard. I don't know, sweetheart. But we have to be careful. Adam walked in at that exact moment, sensing my tension. What is it? He asked. I handed him the note. His eyes narrowed. Don't worry, Nana. I'll handle this. But I could see the worry in his eyes too. Even the strongest people can't ignore a threat so personal, especially when it comes from the people who are supposed to love you. The next few days were tense. Police made regular checks, neighbors watched, and Adam installed extra cameras around the house. Each time the doorbell rang or the phone buzzed, my heart leapt into my throat. It was like living in a war zone, except this war was personal. And personal wars leave scars far deeper than physical ones. One evening while Lily slept, I sat by the window staring at the dark street. I whispered to myself, I've survived so much already. I will survive this too. But I also knew I couldn't let fear consume me. I couldn't let my daughter win. I couldn't allow her to erase me from our family. I would fight, not with fists, not with anger, but with truth. And truth, I realized, was stronger than fear. The night was quiet again, almost too quiet. I thought I heard footsteps in the distance. Or maybe it was just the wind. Either way, I knew one thing for certain. The next encounter with Emily and John wouldn't be accidental. It would be inevitable. And I would be ready. Days passed, but the fear never fully left me. Every creak, every shadow, every unexpected sound reminded me that Emily and John were still out there plotting. Adam had taken every precaution. Locks, cameras, alarms, even a motion detector outside the garden. But I knew people like them don't give up easily. Lily tried to keep me distracted, showing me drawings, talking about school, and even making me laugh. Her innocence was a shield I never realized I needed until now. One morning while Adam was at work, I sat by the kitchen window drinking tea. Everything seemed calm, too calm, and then I saw her, Emily, standing across the street, peering into the window. My heart froze. Lily gasped. "Mommy," she whispered. I quickly pulled the curtains shut. My fingers shook. The feeling of dread returned stronger than before. I called Adam immediately. "Adam, she's here." Outside the house. Within minutes he was back, keys jangling, eyes blazing with determination. He approached the front door, keeping a safe distance from the window. "She's watching us," I whispered. I saw her clearly. She hasn't given up. Adam grabbed the phone, dialing the police. "They're coming back?" I asked. "They won't dare," he said firmly, but I could hear the worry in his voice. "They think they can scare us. That's all." I watched through the blinds as Emily moved slowly down the sidewalk, turning her head like she was searching for something or someone. It was calculated, cold, malicious. Then I realized something terrifying. She wasn't alone. John appeared behind her, just as menacing as ever. Two shadows moving together, inching closer to the house. I felt a pang of panic. They had been planning this probably for days. And now here they were trying to intimidate us. Maybe even trying to take what they believed was theirs. I felt Lily squeeze my hand tightly. Her little body shook. I whispered, "Stay calm, sweetheart. Don't move." Adam peeked outside, motioning us away from the windows. He dialed the police again, giving them a precise description. Sirens were already audible in the distance. Emily noticed it. Her eyes widened in frustration. John cursed under his breath. And then suddenly they ran. Not retreating, but leaving a clear message. They weren't gone. Not yet. They were testing us. watching, waiting. The tension didn't leave me even after they disappeared. Every night, every noise, every unexpected knock made my pulse race. But as I sat there, exhausted and bruised from the previous attacks, I realized something vital. I wasn't helpless anymore. I had Adam. I had Lily. I had the truth. And most importantly, I had my own voice. For the first time in years, I felt empowered. Even when fear lurked in the shadows, I knew I could protect myself and my family from them. That evening, we gathered in the living room. Adam sat on the couch, Lily beside him, and I in my chair. "We can't go back to that house," Adam said firmly. "We'll make this our home. A safe place. Forever." Lily beamed. "I like that, Nana. I like it a lot." I smiled, feeling warmth that had been absent for so long. A long time ago, I had believed family was about blood. Now I knew it was about love, protection, and trust. The danger wasn't gone. Emily and John were still out there. But something had shifted. The power had moved. I wasn't their victim anymore. And when the time came for the final confrontation, I would face them head-on, with truth, courage, and justice on my side. The next morning, I woke up to sunlight streaming through the window, but the sense of unease lingered. Emily and John had made their intentions clear. They weren't done. Adam checked the security footage again, and my stomach dropped when he pointed at the screen. "There," he whispered. "On the front porch, a small package. No markings. No note this time." My heart pounded. "Open it outside," Adam said firmly. I nodded, feeling the weight of fear and anticipation. Lily ran to my side, her little hand gripping mine. "We'll do this together, Nana," she whispered. Her bravery made my heart ache. I stepped outside with Adam and opened the package. Inside was an empty jewelry box. Just a cruel reminder. Nothing else. And then, a car slowly pulled up across the street. The same car Emily and John had always driven. Their presence was undeniable. Their glare threatening. Adam immediately called the police and stepped between me and the street. "I told you we weren't done," Emily shouted from the car, her voice venomous. "You won't get away with this." I held my head high. "No," I said firmly. "I won't be silenced anymore." For a moment the air froze. The tension was unbearable. I could see their anger, their desperation, all the years of manipulation boiling over. The sirens grew louder. The police were arriving. Emily's hand shook on the wheel. John cursed loudly. And then it happened. The officers arrived just as Emily and John tried to drive off. Two squad cars blocked the street. Lights flashing. A decisive end. Emily screamed. John yelled. And in one swift moment, they were pulled from the car and placed under arrest. I felt my knees weaken. Finally, it was over. The people who had hurt me, threatened my life, and stolen my peace were gone. Lily jumped into my arms, hugging me tightly. "We did it, Nana," she cried. I laughed through tears. Yes, we did it together. Adam held us both, and for the first time in years I felt safe. Truly safe. That night we sat together in the living room. Lights dim but hearts full. We talked, we cried, we laughed. For the first time in a long time, our home felt like a sanctuary. I realized something profound. Family isn't always defined by blood. It's defined by love, courage, and loyalty. I had survived betrayal, violence, and fear. And I had discovered something more valuable than any money. I had discovered the strength within myself, and the power of the people who truly care. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. The memories, the scars, the legal proceedings would follow. But I was ready. And with Adam and Lily by my side, I knew one truth. No one would ever control me again. The days after Emily and John's arrest felt surreal. The police visited frequently, taking statements, reviewing evidence, and making sure nothing could be manipulated. At first I couldn't believe it. After years of being dismissed, ignored, and even hurt by my own family, the truth had finally prevailed. Lily skipped around the living room, humming a little tune she had learned at school. Her laughter was like sunlight breaking through a storm. I watched her and realized that this little girl, so brave and innocent, had been my salvation. Adam sat beside me, his hand warm and steady. "We'll rebuild together, Nana," he said softly. "Your home is here. Your life is here." I smiled, tears streaming down my face. I never realized how much courage it takes to survive betrayal. He shook his head gently. "No, Nana. You never needed courage. You had it all along. You just needed to remember." For the first time in years I felt truly free. Free from fear. Free from manipulation. Free from the pain that had been inflicted on me for so long. That evening, I walked into the garden with Lily by my side. The sky was painted with shades of pink and orange, and a cool breeze whispered through the trees. "Do you think they'll ever come back?" Lily asked, her voice small. I knelt down and looked into her eyes. "If they do, we'll be ready," I said firmly. "And we won't be afraid. Because we know our strength now. And we have each other." She hugged me tightly. "And I love you, Nana." "I love you too, sweetheart," I whispered. "And that love is stronger than anything they could ever do to us." I realized that the past, no matter how painful, had made me stronger. Every betrayal, every scar, every sleepless night had led me here. To safety, to love, and to a new beginning. I had lost so much along the way. But I had also gained something far more precious. The unbreakable bond of family that truly cares. The courage to stand tall. And the knowledge that no one, not even those closest to me, could ever take my spirit. As night fell and the house grew quiet, I finally allowed myself to rest. For the first time in what felt like forever, I slept peacefully. Tomorrow would come with its own challenges, but I was ready. And I knew that, no matter what happened, Lily, Adam, and I would face it together. Unafraid, unbroken, and stronger than ever.